Should you quit consulting? As a former Big Four management consultant, I myself had struggled with answering this question quite a few years ago, and I ultimately made the tough decision to leave my consulting job and do a total career switch and become a recruiter. Now, I'm not saying that you should quit consulting and choose a totally different career path, but I do think this question is quite tricky and involves a lot of different factors that you need to consider. I've already coached dozens of consultants and helped them leave consulting and find a job in industry, but I also have a lot of friends who still work in consulting and absolutely love their job. So I'm going to do my best to keep this as a very unbiased and objective video so that you can truly understand and decide for yourself what is the right career decision for you. And before we get into the video, if you want more career advice just like this, make sure you click subscribe down below or share it with a friend. Alright, so as a consultant, I know you love structure, so I've broken down how to answer this question for yourself in 4 main areas or 4 big topics that you need to think through and decide for yourself. If you want, you can even create a little matrix for yourself, a little scorecard if you will, and break it down into these 4 main topics. So the first topic to potentially consider when leaving consulting is the lifestyle. When you think about what you want your life to be like in 3 to 5 years, how does the consulting lifestyle play into that? For example, are you thinking about having a family? If you are thinking about having a family, how does traveling each week and working a lot of hours play into how you would want to raise a family? There are many successful and different methods in order to raise a family and be a good parent, and you don't necessarily have to be around all the time. But it does depend on what type of family you want to have and what type of parent you would like to be. Of course, if you're not thinking about having a family right away or at all, then maybe the consulting and traveling lifestyle is perfect for you because you get to check out new places and you get to experience a lot of really fun and cool engagements. Of course, as a part of your lifestyle, you should think about how much work you want to be doing 3 to 5 years from now and how much stress you are open to handling. Let's be real, being a consultant is a high pressure environment and you do work a lot of hours. Before I quit my job at the Big Four, I was literally working 80 to 100 hours a week, including travel time. But for some people, working a lot and having purpose and having drive and having something to give you structure in your life is exactly what you need. So you need to decide what is that perfect balance for you. Also, when you think about your future lifestyle, how does travel play into that? Are you okay possibly traveling every single week, Monday through Thursday? Sometimes you may be far away from your family and friends even on weekends, depending on your engagements and how many hours you need to work for your clients. Now, I will caution you, if you're thinking that, don't worry, in the future, I'm sure I'll have to work a lot less and it won't be as stressful the more experience that I get. Fortunately, that's not really the case. Keep in mind, most consulting firms have a up or out model, meaning you constantly need to be progressing and gaining more experience and more responsibilities at your firm. Otherwise, you may be put on a performance improvement plan or just kind of managed out of the firm anyways. So the stress level and the responsibilities will probably be the same or at least be increasing over time. Now, of course, one of the big advantages of having a consulting work lifestyle is how challenging and stimulating all of the work and projects are that you get to do. You also are a part of very high visibility, high impactful projects for every single business. And for some of you, that could be exactly what you need to feel fulfilled and have a really awesome job. So the second area you are going to want to think about and analyze if you are considering leaving consulting is around the timing of when you should leave. Of course, you should think about what the economic and market conditions are like when you are trying to make your move. If the economy is really hot and there's a lot of potential job opportunities, you should probably strike while the iron is good. But if the economy is a bit of on a downturn or in like an economic depression like we were at the beginning of COVID-19, the job stability and security that you have in consulting is typically pretty good compared to industry. Also, when it comes to timing, are you close to getting promoted? Maybe it could be worth it for you to stick it out another 6 months to a year if you know that a promotion is coming. Now, with all of those factors considered, I also want you to think about your current level of happiness. Are you truly happy with the work and project that you have right now? If you are really unhappy, sometimes it's not worth sticking around 6 months to a year just to get a promotion if it will affect your mental health. Also, when it comes to timing, have you been approached by one of your clients and given a potential job offer from them? Sometimes these opportunities are golden tickets and they don't always come up very often. And so if you are presented with a fantastic role and opportunity with a company or client that you really enjoy working with, you are going to want to consider the timing of this and if you should be accepting this offer. And when you are thinking about leaving consulting, make sure you're considerate of how much time you have to actually manage and prepare for any potential interviews that you could have. If you are on a high stress, high level engagement right now where you're working 80 to 100 hours a week, you probably don't have the time to prepare and study and take interviews on top of that. So maybe the timing of when you move to a slower engagement or an engagement where they're in a different phase of the project where you may have more time for yourself could be better. Now, the third area that you want to be thinking about is your current marketability and skill sets that you have. When you think about the job that you want to get when you leave consulting, you also need to think about how marketable you are for that particular role. What are the critical skill sets that they need for someone to be hired in that position, and how deep of your expertise do you currently have in that area? As a consultant, we have lots of different types of engagements. Some of them may be more project management focused. Some of them may be more technical. Some of them may be around vendor selection and other things. So you need to think about what is your marketability and strength of skill set in a particular area that you want to get into if you were to leave consulting. Keep in mind, doing one project is not enough to consider you an expert, and folks and hiring managers in industry will recognize that. So think about what types of engagements and skills you've had to use the most, and that is probably your current and existing skill set. If it's not a match for the job that you actually want, then think about getting on more types of those engagements before leaving so that you can be much more marketable and increase your chances of actually getting that job you want. Also, when you're thinking about your marketability of skill set, what were your last performance ratings? You are going to want to leave the firm on a high note. So if you had probably not such a good performance rating in the last review cycle, maybe the timing isn't right, because if they run references and they ask about your performance, you want to make sure that your partner and directors are talking very highly about you. Now, the fourth area for you to consider, and I'm sure you probably anticipated this, is around money and finances. Consultants are generally underpaid compared to the market and overworked, but we all knew that when we accepted these job offers to begin with. So don't base your decision purely on money. And also, if you are pretty close to getting paid out for your annual bonus, you're probably going to want to stick around for that. If you are really considering an exit from consulting, I think you should focus less about the money, but more around the lifestyle and other opportunities that would be presented to you when you were to leave. For example, if you were to leave consulting, one of the lifestyle and work changes would be that you wouldn't have to do so many internally focused projects like proposals and white papers and things of that nature. Instead, you'd be paid basically to do the core part of your skill set, less consulting-based work. All right, so after you've considered these four different areas, lifestyle, timing, marketability, and money, what do you actually do next? Well, if you've decided that it's probably best for you to stay and continue working in consulting, that's pretty straightforward. But what if you want to leave? What are some potential options? Of course, you could just get a job at industry and work for one of your clients in your particular vertical. Or maybe you want to consider working for a different type of consulting firm. For example, there are consulting firms out there that pay you hourly. I know, crazy, right? One of the ones that come to mind is Point B. They actually pay their consultants hourly, which could be a nice change of pace for you. You could also consider making a move internally within your firm and working in a different group to gain a different skill set. But again, think about the third area, which is your marketability. If you were to switch focus areas and move from, say, technology or IT consulting to finance or marketing consulting, your marketability will be changed. Whenever you switch focus areas and try to gain new skill sets, you're probably going to need to stay there for at least 2 years before you're truly marketable outside. So hopefully I gave you a lot to think about, but it's going to help you make the right decision for where you are currently in your career and in your life today. And if you want to find out how to actually get a job in industry and leave consulting, if that's what you want to do, I do have a video up on the channel that you can check out right over here. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.